Hey guys, so I had got a tons of requests regarding integrated PhD. What is the procedure? What are the questions that are asked in the interview, right? So for many of you, this might be the first interview and or first interview in a major institute, right? So it could be a pretty daunting thing. Attending an interview at a major institute, your first interview, but there's no need to worry, there's no need to panic, right? You can relax because the interviewers over there are really chilled out people, right? Now before I move on to what questions are asked in the interview, how you should prepare for the interview, let me just give you a brief idea of what is the procedure like in different institutes, like different IISers as well, because all IISers do not have the same procedure for enrolling students in integrated PhD. So here I've written down a chart for you guys. So you can see over here, first you get shortlisted based on your JAM score, right? You get shortlisted based on your JAM score. Then there are two ways by which you can get enrolled, all right? So either you can, once you get shortlisted, you're called for an entrance exam, all right? You're called for an entrance exam. Once you give that particular entrance exam, then you are called, then you are selected for the interview, and after the interview, then you are enrolled, all right? Now this entrance exam, this consists of questions which are basically JAM level, but they're actually much easier than JAM as well, all right? So do not worry about the entrance exam, it's very basic. There might be some questions from your biology, 11th 12th biology, and physics, 11th 12th physics. There might be some questions, and there might be also some questions from mathematics as well. Maths, like basic differentiation integration you should do. Now two IISers, three IISers, IISer Kolkata, IISer Mohali, and IISer Trivandrum take entrance exams, and JNCR also takes entrance exams for integrated PhD. So these four institutes, they take entrance exam for your integrated PhD. Once you qualify the entrance exam, so there are certain number of students that are selected from the entrance exam who score the highest marks, obviously, and then they are called for the interview, and once you clear the interview as well, then you are enrolled into the institute. The other procedure is you're shortlisted for a screening interview, all right? So IISer Bhopal and IISer Pune, they follow this particular procedure where you are first, there's no entrance exam, all right? Each and every student who has been shortlisted will have a screening interview. And what is a screening interview? It's a very short interview. Generally there are 2 to 3 panelists who will take your interview, right? And it will be a very short interview, maximum 15 minutes. It can go from anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. It will be a very, very short interview where they'll judge you on the basis of your knowledge, like whether they should send you for the main interview or not, right? So in case and the questions will be a little easier, okay? It will be a little easier in the screening interview. So if you are able to answer those questions and they find you that you're satisfactory for giving the main interview, then they'll select you. And once the screening interview gets over, then you're selected for the main interview, and once you qualify for the main interview, then you're selected, then you're enrolled in the institute. So they follow a 2 interview procedure, whereas these 4 institutes, they follow entrance exam, and based on the entrance score, then you are called for the interview. All right, so this is the basic outline or basic procedure by which institutes enroll you for integrated PhD. Now the benefit of integrated PhD is that even if you are not a JRF, if you did not qualify JRF or GATE, you do not need to worry because your PhD is secured in that particular institute. Nobody can throw you out of that particular institute. So your PhD is secured, that is one thing. But in case you want to join some institute, if you know that you are not a person who sticks to one institute for a very, very long time, and you might want to go abroad for doing PhD, then integrated PhD might be a problem for you. Then it's better for you to go for simple masters, right? Like in IITs or some other institutes like basic central universities as well, they offer you simple masters. So in case you plan on doing a PhD from abroad, I don't think integrated PhD is a very good choice for you. All right, now coming on to the interviews. Entrance exam, like I told you, basic questions are asked from your chemistry should be good, right? And the chemistry questions are quite easy, so I think everybody might be able to answer those chemistry questions because they're really simple. The only problem is that there will be some questions, there might be some questions, I'm not sure, but there might be some questions from maths and physics. So in case you are able to answer those questions as well, you will have an edge over the other students. So I recommend you at least you do differentiation, integration, and a little bit of concepts from physics and biology as well, right? Like proteins, amino acids, nucleic acids. It's actually a mix of chemistry and biology. Like nucleic acids, I think you study in chemistry as well, carbohydrates, nucleic acids, and amino acids as well, right? All right, so now about the interview. So in the interview, what they do is, in general, the interviewers are very comforting, right? Even if you're not able to come up with the answer, they will help you out to come to the answer, right? So do not try and fool them. Do not try and make up concepts by yourself. If you do not know a particular concept, just say I do not know, right? Do not try and fool around, all right? If you don't know something, just say I don't know. And in case, even if you are trying something, if they have asked a question, you are not able to correctly remember what it is, they will look for an approach, all right? So always have a correct and confident approach towards a particular question. In case you're not able to answer as well, just have a confident approach towards a particular question, right? And generally most of the interviews, they will ask you what are your favorite topics, be it a PhD interview or be it an integrated PhD interview. Generally when you go for interviews, they generally ask you what is your what topic you're confident on, and they will ask you questions based on that particular topic, right? So for example, if you say there are some scenarios which my friends have told me for integrated PhD, my juniors and my friends. So I'll give that scenario to you guys, right? So they went in and they were asked that what is your favorite topic, and they told, like, for example, quantum chemistry. So first of all, they will ask you a very simple topic from quantum chemistry. They will say just write the energy of a particle in 1D box, all right? And let me tell you one more thing, there will not be any complicated numericals or derivations that will be asked in the interview, right? Derivations, some might ask, but not those lengthy ones, small derivations, maybe derive the energy for particle in a 1D box. But generally in the interviews, they will not ask you questions based on derivations, right? Or complex numericals. Especially in the screening interview. In the screening interview, like I told you, it's a 5 to 10 minute interview, so they will not be asking you derivations, especially in the screening interview. In the main interview, they might, all right? In general, they do not ask, but they might as well, right? So it's up to you, it's your luck actually, because generally when I go for interviews, I do my concepts really well. I do not go for derivations, and generally I've never been asked about a derivation in any interview, right? So generally they will only test your concepts. So they will ask you about particle in a 1D box, right? And then gradually they will increase the level of the question. So easily, right? Sorry for the small interruption, I think something went wrong with the camera. So I was telling that in quantum chemistry, they will ask you basic concepts, and gradually they will increase the difficulty level of the concepts, right? So they'll try and make you as comfortable as possible. Even if you're not able to answer a particular question, they will see if your approach to a particular question is rational and logical, right? Then for example, if they ask you questions on thermodynamics, they will generally ask you questions on first law of thermodynamics, entropy, what is entropy, what do you mean by entropy, what do you mean by Helmholtz energy, what is the application, I mean in real life, like what application can we have of Helmholtz energy or entropy in real life, right? Then in kinetics, they generally ask you questions on first, second and third order, T half of a reaction. They will play with the units. Their favorite questions are based on the rate constant. What are the units of the rate constant? And they will grill you over there as well. Then in electrochemistry, generally Nernst equation and all those questions. If you are from if the questions are from inorganic, generally they will be based on coordination chemistry, right? Jahn-Teller distortion, labile and inert complexes. If you are from organic chemistry, if they are asking questions from organic chemistry, 99% of the times the questions are going to be based on reactive intermediates, especially your carbenes and benzene. These are the two favorite questions of JAM examiners as well. And if you're going for an interview of organic chemistry, there are only very few interviews where questions are not based on carbenes and benzenes, basically reactive intermediates, right? It could be nitrines as well. Then there could be questions on rearrangement reactions that are also very common in the interviews, questions based on rearrangement reactions, right? Again, there also, if you're not able to come out with the correct product, if you're trying to go with a rational and logical mechanism, a practical mechanism, then there will be brownie points in your favor. All right, so this is the general trend of interviews. And in case somebody from ICER or JNCSR who is currently pursuing integrated PhD, or who has completed integrated PhD, is watching this particular video, please feel free to comment down below and help out the other students who are going for the interviews. If I missed out some particular topic, you can just comment down below, or you can share your experience as well. Right now, I'll share with you a very fascinating experience, right, that happened in a JNCSR interview. Right, so the examiner, he asked that draw the energy, or derive the energy for a particle in 1D box, and along with that he said that draw the particle in 1D box, and then draw the figure of a particle in 1D box, and then derive the energy of particle in a 1D box. So generally, when you draw a particle in the 1D box, you might have been taught in the universities as well, but if you are in a second or third year, this might be a very good question to ask your lecturer, right, ask your teacher. And the question and what happened was, so generally, how do we draw a particle in 1D box? Like with this we draw, then we show there's a particle which is moving like this in both directions, and the potential over here is infinity, so the particle cannot escape, and these are the particles moving from two boundary conditions are placed from 0 to A, and the particle is moving in one dimension. Right, so over here we write 1D box. This is a particle in 1D box. Now think about it, particle in 1D box, and tell me that in your life, have you ever seen a box, a one-dimensional box? In your life, have you ever seen a one-dimensional box? No, right? Either the box has to be 3-dimensional, or it has to have some height, right? So it has to be 3 dimensions. So have you ever seen in your life a particle in a 1D box? And in case what you're drawing over here, it's 2-dimensional, because obviously it has a y direction and it has a x direction. So this is particle in a 2D box. This cannot be 1D box. All right, so how can you justify this statement that this particle is in a 1D box? This is absolutely incorrect, right? So first of all, I think that to get some accuracy to your diagram, what you need to do is these boundary conditions, these v equal to infinity, this should not be a solid line. This should be this should be something like this. All right, it should not be a solid line. I'll show you. It should be something like this. It should be a dotted line, right, like that. And then over here you can write v equal to infinity, and the particle is moving in one dimension, so the particle is moving from in this path only. So then this justifies that this is particle in 1D, but still it does not justify the statement particle in a 1D box. So think about it, ponder on it, that how is this particle in a 1D box, and if you come up with a suitable explanation, please feel free to comment down below in the comment section. And if you are from physical chemistry, I'll tell you again, if the questions are asked based on physical chemistry, please know the applications of various concepts that you are studying, because that is very important. That will fetch you a good points in the interview. That will be a very if you know the application of the particular concept, that will go in your favor, right? So please do the applications of various concepts that you are studying, like where can we apply particle in one dimension to solve chemistry problems. Like you all must be knowing, for alkenes, for conjugated alkenes, we can calculate the transition, the energy of excitation with the help of this particular concept, and it's quite accurate. By using particle in a 1D box, we can apply that concept to conjugated alkenes, right? So certain concepts like these, certain applications of concepts like these, you should be aware of, right? So anyway, I hope you do really well in the interview and you get through one of the good institutes of India to pursue research, right? And yeah, so that's about it. Talking about the advantage of integrated PhD, I think I've already talked about it, right? I do not remember, but I think I have talked about the advantage and disadvantage of integrated PhD and for whom it would be suitable, right? So please do like my video if you like it, if you really like it, like my video, and do share and subscribe, and all the very best for your coming interviews, right? All the very best. Thank you.